Virtually every year over the last 2 decades, my late Januaries were spent at the World Economic Forum's Brainfest in Davos, Switzerland. But this year, a family commitment took priority, and until today, I was wondering, looking from afar, whether the time and expense of traveling every year to Europe's highest town was actually worth it. Zero FOMO. Until today. As a rational being, long bemused by mankind's inability to see the economically obvious, I've been watching the rise of the libertarian economist Javier Milei with some excitement. Milei's good fortune is that he's an Argentine, and that means he's part of a nation that's been hammered by socialist claptrap for over 100 years, for so long that it's finally, it appears, to reach rock bottom. He's become a symbol of hope for a country that's long been cursed with economic idiocy. Most people could care less about politics, and that's probably why the world is so full of full-on autocrats and their devious cousins who have used flawed election processes to acquire control over their fellows. We've seen what happened here in South Africa. The great German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, and I quote, "Wherever I found the living, there I found the will to power." In far too many democracies, we the people have facilitated this power grab by abdicating our responsibility. Hopefully, with the big election in South Africa this year, and indeed in 59 other nations around the world, we the people will rediscover that responsibility. Well, one country which has done so is Argentina, where a nothing-to-lose electorate broke all the apparent rules by installing the radical libertarian Milei into the highest office of their land. That led to his Davos invitation and today's extraordinary speech, which rips off the veneer disguising the truth that globally, a privileged political elite has been progressively driving once prosperous nations into poverty. Milei's speech is a 23-minute one that's broken down into about 18 minutes of an economics lecture, but followed by a very powerful conclusion. You can easily access the whole speech, and I suggest you do. But for the purposes of this contribution, we're only going to pick up the last part, where he addresses a system that must change. Today in Davos's plenary hall, a setting familiar with high-profile appearances, Milei's candidness was unprecedented, surpassing even that of former US President Donald Trump. His words could mark a pivotal moment in global economic discourse, hence my FOMO. For those who wish to delve deeper, please do go and get that full speech, which is available elsewhere. But for now, let's listen to the essence of his argument, where he picks up on an explanation of how the impact of socialist thinking, collectivism, and growing disdain for the functioning of free markets has landed the world in a very dangerous place. Let's listen to the translation of the key part in President Milei's defining speech today at the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Unfortunately, these harmful ideas have taken a strong hold in our society. Neo-Marxists have managed to co-opt the common sense of the Western world, and this they have achieved by appropriating the media, culture, universities, and also international organizations. The latter case is the most serious one, probably, because these are institutions that have enormous influence on political and economic decisions of the countries that make up the multilateral organizations. Fortunately, there's more and more of us who are daring to make our voices heard, because we see that if we don't truly and decisively fight against these ideas, the only possible fate is for us to have increasing levels of state regulation, socialism, poverty, and less freedom, and therefore will be having worse standards of living. The West has unfortunately already started to go along this path. I know to many it may sound ridiculous to suggest that the West has turned to socialism, but it's only ridiculous if you only limit yourself to the traditional economic definition of socialism, which says that it's an economic system where the state owns the means of production. This definition, and my view, should be updated in the light of current circumstances. Today, states don't need to directly control the means of production to control every aspect of the lives of individuals. With tools such as printing money, debt, subsidies, controlling the interest rate, price controls, and regulations to correct the so-called market failures, they can control the lives and fates of millions of individuals. This is how we come to the point where, by using different names or guises, a good deal of the generally accepted political offers in most Western countries are collectivist variants, whether they proclaim to be openly communists, fascists, Nazis, socialists, social democrats, national socialists, Democrat Christians, or Christian Democrats, neo-Keynesians, progressive, populist, nationalists, or globalists. At bottom, there are no major differences. They all say that the state should steer all aspects of the lives of individuals. They all defend a model contrary to that one which led humanity to the most spectacular progress in its history. We have come here today to invite the rest of the countries in the Western world to get back on the path of prosperity, economic freedom, limited government, and unlimited respect for private property are essential elements for economic growth. And the impoverishment produced by collectivism is no fantasy, nor is it an inescapable fate. But it's a reality that we Argentines know very well. We have lived through this. We have been through this. Because as I said earlier, ever since we decided to abandon the model of freedom that had made us rich, we have been caught up in a downward spiral, as part of which we are poorer and poorer day by day. So this is something we have lived through, and we are here to warn you about what can happen if the countries in the Western world that became rich through the model of freedom stay on this path of servitude. The case of Argentina is an empirical demonstration that no matter how rich you may be, or how much you may have in terms of natural resources, or how skilled your population may be, or educated, or how many bars of gold you may have in the central bank, if measures are adopted that hinder the free functioning of markets, free competition, free price systems, if you hinder trade, if you attack private property, the only possible fate is poverty. Therefore, in concluding, I would like to leave a message for all business people here and for those who are not here in person but are following from around the world. Do not be intimidated either by the political class or by parasites who live off the state. Do not surrender to a political class that only wants to stay in power and retain its privileges. You are social benefactors. You're heroes. You're the creators of the most extraordinary period of prosperity we've ever seen. Let no one tell you that your ambition is immoral. If you make money, it's because you offer a better product at a better price, thereby contributing to general well-being. Do not surrender to the advance of the state. The state is not the solution. The state is the problem itself. You are the true protagonists of this story. And rest assured that as from today, Argentina is your staunch, unconditional ally. Thank you very much, and long live freedom. Damn it.
Damn it. It reminds me a little of when Cyril Ramaphosa was still in the throes of Ramaphoria, and he had the investment conference in Sandton at which he called entrepreneurs heroes. That was following a speech by Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba. Well, Mr. Ma has fallen out of favor, and then some, with the Chinese government. He disappeared for a year. And it appears as though Mr. Ramaphosa has found different inspirations. That was Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, and I'm Alec Hogg from BizNews.com.